Okay, let's move on, and I'll talk a little bit here about theory. It's as close as I get to actually doing equations, so bear with me, because I can't use the Greek symbols as the economists do, but there is an economic theory called transaction cost analysis. And the basis of it is that in any decision about make or buy, your production costs plus your employment costs may be greater or smaller than the price you could pay somebody else to do that, plus the cost of governing that other person to do that. And so quite simply, you decide on the basis of that whether you are going to employ people or whether you're going to use a contractor. Now, of course, production cost and price are fairly transparent. What transaction cost economics focuses on is the employment cost versus the cost of governing a third party. And that's very much more difficult to gauge. What, over time, is going to cost you more? A lot of these costs are hidden. So unfortunately, in many business cases, they don't actually get much in-depth consideration. But transaction cost economics, bless its cotton socks, does give us some guidance on this. Where is it likely that employment costs are in the end going to be greater or lesser than contracting out costs? And the guidance is, now this word asset specificity refers to your uniqueness as a firm. The more unique you are as a firm, probably the more likely you need to employ people, because you're, as a firm, are going to be very difficult to learn. So you need to make sure that people are there for the long term. Behavioral uncertainty. If you can't be sure how your contractor is going to behave over the long term, and it would be difficult to measure how they're performing over the long term, then you're probably better off employing people, because you have more visibility of what they're doing. So you can see if their behaviors are being constructive, moving in the right direction. And last but not least, business uncertainty. If there's a lot of external risk, then that means you're going to have to change very frequently. And the theory, although we'll come on to question this shortly, the theory says that if the business environment is very volatile, then you would probably be saving money if you employed people, because you are more likely to be able to redirect them quickly than you could do with a contractor. But in the current business environment, that is not always the case.